Welcome to the Influencer Show with your host, Trishawn Ben Salmi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Influencer Show, where I interview people who can help influence the way you live life in a number of different ways. I'm your host, C7, and today we have a very special guest for us, Regan Hillyer. So if you'd like to introduce yourself to listeners and let them know a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome to be here. And yeah, I'm a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur. And really the core of everything I do is I help people have it all in their life in whatever way that looks like for them.
That is absolutely amazing. And why don't you share with the listeners why you do what you do?
I'm really driven ultimately by service. You know, I'm driven by impact. I'm driven by service. And so the thing that really wakes me up and drives me each and every single day is really asking myself, how many people can I touch? How many people can I help? How many people can I positively impact and inspire? Like, that's the thing that pulls me forward. And that's the thing that excites me the most as well.
That is absolutely amazing. I totally agree. That's like really important. Just having that thing to wake you up in the morning and just having a positive impact on others.
Yes.
What would you say has been the biggest influence on you that you wish you had done sooner?
There's been many. You know, I've worked with so many different coaches and mentors, as you know, right, over the last 10, 11, 12 years. And I think, you know, I would have wished I'd known sooner that having a coach and having a mentor was such a shortcut to success in so many ways. It can help you so much see yourself and get on a pathway quicker, right? And so even though I started kind of young, I was 17, 18, I look at your family, right? I'm like, imagine if I knew that when I was 5, when I was 7, when I was 12, like that would be incredible, right? And so, yeah, that's the thing for me. I was like, oh, I wish I just knew that earlier. I wish someone had told me that rather than figuring it out myself later on.
Yeah, I think that's just really important, because then having those people in place around you to then install those habits in you at an early age then makes it that much easier, really.
Exactly. And yeah, it really is. I love how you use the word install. It is like installing these habits, these behaviors, these principles, these ways of being. And the earlier you can get to that, the easier it's going to be down the track for sure.
I totally agree. And how do you prefer to influence others to change the way that they live their lives to be better?
Look, I do this in a variety of different ways. I have multiple different companies and businesses. My core heartbeat really is my education platform, Regan Hillyer International. And so we do this through a series of different live events and also online. And obviously now with the world shutting down, pretty much everything is online right now, which I'm excited about and grateful for, but I'm also excited for when the world opens up, right? And then we can have these in-person experiences again as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. So,
Uh-huh.
what would you say people should do to stay motivated during moments of crisis?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the thing that's going to keep people motivated through these elements of crisis, which the world is shifting through right now, is really connecting to what drives them, really connecting to something bigger than themselves. You know, if your goals in your life and your mission and your vision is just about you, it's very easy to give up on yourself. It's very easy to go, you know what, like I'm just going to watch Netflix in bed today. You know what, like I'm not going to go do that thing, because people give up on themselves so easily. However, you know, if you're going to lie in bed and watch Netflix instead of doing your purpose work, and you know that the world's waiting on you, and you know that there's like millions of people out there like hoping and praying and wishing that you're going to get out of bed and do your thing, I mean, that's what motivates me, right? That's what drives me forward, especially in this time of crisis, which the planet has gone into. People need us more than ever. They need our medicine. They need our message. They need our work. They need our impacts. They need us to show up and be motivated, right? So I know, at least for me, that's the thing that really pulls me forward. It's connecting with something that's far greater and far bigger than me in so many ways.
And I think that's actually really important, because then once you then have a message that is bigger than you, then it actually motivates you even more to get it done.
Yes. And it's like a spiral, you know, all of a sudden then you're motivated, and then you're not like trying to make yourself motivated. You just are motivated. You're just a motivated person because you're constantly connected to this thing that's pulling you forward.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And Regan, could you share with us your passion?
I have so many passions. I think my core passion really is helping people. My core passion is, it is my purpose work. It is my business. It's showing up every single day and being me and speaking my truth and getting my message out to the world. You know, if I'm doing a live stream, or if I'm on an interview like this, or if I'm writing one of my books, or if I'm editing, you know, a piece of content within my business, none of that feels like work, right? None of that feels like work. It doesn't feel heavy. It feels exciting and light and fun, because it's totally aligned with my passion and my purpose of showing up and being me and making a massive impact.
That is absolutely amazing. I totally just like find that really inspiring, because then having, how you said about having the purpose like bigger than yourself, then every day you wake up, you're then not only thinking like, what can I do to make today positive, but then you're also thinking, what impact then can I have on others?
Exactly. Yes.
If you had a megaphone and you could say one thing to the world that would have a lasting influence, what would it be and why?
I like this question. Sir, I would really, I mean, I would say many things, but if I, if I could only say one thing in this megaphone, I would really ask people to get clear on what is their dream life like? What does their total unapologetically free life actually look like? You know, I would ask them, if you were to unapologetically actually just ask for what you want in life, what would be going on? And I would have them deep dive into a deeper inquiry, because I feel like so many people aren't manifesting their dream life because they're not actually clear on what they're asking for. They're not actually clear on what they want, and they're scared to dream big, and they're scared to think big. And maybe they were told when they were younger, like, oh, that's too big, or, you know, don't focus on that. That's not for you. Who are you to want that or think that, right? There's so much we get to peel back. So I would just invite people to go into this unapologetic request of actually asking for what they want in their life.
I think that's just really important, because then when you're then able to look deep within yourself and just get to the roots, or to like why you do what you do, then it not only then creates a even deeper drive, but then it also just like, it just helps you just get past every day, really.
Exactly. Yes. And that's the thing. It's coming back to this thing pulling you forward, right?
Definitely. And I think one thing that I just wanted to let you listeners know, like the reason why Regan liked this question so much is because I actually got it from Regan's Bali retreat.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking, you know, I've asked probably thousands of people that question, right? I don't know if anyone's actually asked me that question. So I love that. I love that you're asking people that. That's so cool.
Thank you. What advice would you give to those who, let's say, they've had their very own £1 million idea at a time like this?
The advice I would have is, I would firstly spend some time going within and getting really clear on what does this vision actually look like. So getting clear on, what does this look like? What is the big purpose, the big impacts, like really dreaming into that bigger picture of it. I would then look at any resistance you have within yourself, blocking or stopping this idea moving forward. So I would get really real and honest with the fears, or any like limiting beliefs or self-sabotage patterns, anything which is like stopping you getting it out to the world, right? And then from this place, I would look at, what's the aligned action that you can take to actually start materializing this, to get this idea out to the world? Is it that you start speaking about it on the internet? Is it that you set up your website? Is it that you start attracting the right team members to co-create with you and get this out to the world? Whatever it is for you, we've got to take the aligned action. But you don't want to just jump into the action until you're actually aligned with it from the inside out.
I think that's really important how you then said aligned action, because many people, they often say, oh, take action. But if it's not in the right direction, then there's no point really.
Right. And there's so many people out there who are busy for the sake of being busy, and they're working really hard. They're doing massive hours, super long days, and their life isn't changing. I'm like, what are you doing? You might as well do nothing. This is crazy. So yeah, 1, 2, or 3 steps of aligned action, meaning you're aligning to your vision and you're actually getting your vision out in the world, is more powerful than 20 steps of misaligned action. And just because, you know, there's also a lot of people, right, in the personal development world being like, take massive action, go for it, work hard. And yeah and no, if it's not actually getting you to where you want to be.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. What is the biggest issue, or maybe even a problem, that you're aiming to solve as an influencer in your own industry?
That's a great question. I think for me, one of the biggest things which I've been looking at recently, and it's not, I guess, too much of a challenge or a problem, but I feel like there's this unique thing happening, which I've been working on recently, is shifting out of events and, live spaces in the sense where it's like a series of speakers and, keynote people just like talking and speaking, and people sit and they listen to a talk. What I want to do is shift that into going into a space of more experiences, right? And having people come in and actually receive, music and art and learning at the same time, where they're like, not like a festival because it's more focused with an intention and it's more structured. But I feel like this age of like the guru talks at you on stage is dying out. And I feel like the challenge or problem would be is that people are getting bored. They're kind of sick of this. They want to experience something, not just learn something with their mind. So that's one of the things I'm playing with right now. I'm looking at how do I integrate music into my work? How do I take my work and create these, when the world opens up, right? These transformational experiences that are experiences, not just someone teaching you or talking at you.
I think that's just really important, because then being able to then integrate the audience into their own learning just helps them not only be more open to learning, but it just helps them to share the message around, really.
Exactly. And look, information you can get anywhere right now. You can Google any awesome speaker on YouTube and sit there and binge for days on their content totally for free. So, people I feel aren't going to live events like they were in the past with all these keynote speakers, because they want something more. They want to shift. They want to transform. They want to experience something. And I feel like there's a gap in this industry where no one's like really nailing that right now,
Definitely, I totally agree. It's just about like being able to then repurpose your content into different areas so that you're then able to have not only have a wider impact, but then you're then also able to reach people who may not be able to attend the live events.
Exactly. It's a whole new level. So exciting.
Definitely. What would you say was the pivotal point along your journey, and what did it teach you?
There's been many. I think one of the biggest moments for me was that when I was actually at university and I was studying to be an architect, and I got put through a process where basically the lecturer got us to visualize our life 20 years out as the architects that we were born to be, supposedly. And everyone got super inspired and motivated, and I felt absolutely terrified. I felt sick to my stomach because I realized I was on a path where I was creating a life that I wasn't in love with. Yes, I was good at it. Yes, I could work hard at it. Yes, I could make it work, but it wasn't my truth. It wasn't my soul's journey, And so I had a moment where I got up and I left that room and I made a big decision. I was like, I'm going to figure out, why am I actually here, and how do I create a life that I love? And it wasn't through going, it was really through going through that moment that spun me into the world of personal development and working on myself. And I mean, that transition point changed everything for me.
I think it's really, really amazing how then you were then able to just accept the truth, because like when some people, they might feel a bit of resistance and things like that, they simply decide to push on. They're like, no, it's fine and things like that. But it's about just like knowing when enough's enough, really.
Exactly. And, that takes courage. Bear in mind, my parents wanted me to be an architect, right? My mom especially was like, no, you've got to stay at university. Like, you've got to finish what you started, like all of this stuff, right? I didn't really have anyone say, hey, like, I'm an entrepreneur. Let me teach you how to be an entrepreneur. I really had to pave that way on my own and figure it out. And it was hard and it was scary and it was confusing, but I'm so happy I did.
Yeah, that's actually an amazing story, and thank you for sharing.
Of course.
What would you say are like the top 3 lessons that you have learned along your journey, and how did they then influence where you look at life?
Totally. So yeah, one of the biggest lessons would be actually from this first event, like really always trust your intuition, always trust what you're feeling, trust your deep inner guidance. If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right, right? And the mind can come in and try and convince you otherwise and tell you all the logical reasons why you should be doing the thing. But if it doesn't feel good, it's probably not good. So really trusting that. The second thing would be really that success in any area of your life is created first from within. And if you're not doing the work to condition yourself to succeed from the inside out, then nothing you do strategically on the outside even matters, right? And I think the third thing that I've really learned that is possible is that as humans, we're dreamers and we're creators, and we actually have a really powerful ability to take any dream, any vision, any desire we have and actually pull it into the physical and manifest it in our life. People think that manifestation is like a God-given gift that some people have and some people don't. All humans are manifestors. And so the minute you remember that and you start playing with that and you realize that everything you have and don't have in your life, you've actually manifested. The minute you take responsibility for that, you realize how powerful you are, and then you realize how much you can change your life.
I totally agree. And I think that's one thing that the whole world is starting to then realize, because as a result of this whole lockdown, they're then realizing like how they were running on sort of like autopilot. They were doing the same things, expecting different results, and it then puts into perspective what they then need to do to attain the goals and desires that they aim for.
Exactly. And I think it's actually in so many ways a really good pause that the world is in right now. I was just on another interview earlier, and it's so beautiful. This guy said, yeah, we're in this pause, and at the end of the pause, you're going to get to choose. Do you just unpause and go back to how your life was, or do you actually hit stop and then hit play on an entirely new chapter of your life? And I feel like we're in this right now. We're at this choice point where you have more time. Many people have more time to go within and to dream again and to ask themselves, well, okay, when the world opens up again, like, what does my life actually look like? I think it's a really powerful moment right now.
I totally agree with that. And if you had to be another person for one day, who would it be and why?
I'd be you. I'd get in your head and I'd wonder what it's like. Are you 15 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would sit in a 15-year-old's head, and I would want to see the world through their eyes, and I would want to see the future through your eyes, and I'd want to know what you see actually shifting in the world and in humanity. I think that would be so much fun.
What are your views on the word legacy, and what legacy would you like to leave?
Yeah, I think legacy is something that we create that obviously lives on beyond the human experience of this body of life, right? And it goes beyond this. So for me, it's, it's the imprint you leave on the world after we leave this human experience. And so for me, my legacy is really comes back to shifting and altering the vibration and the frequency of the planet, and doing that through individuals. And when I leave here, whenever that time may be, if people can truly say like, oh yes, like Regan's work impacted my life. She got me to think differently. She got me to do this differently. Like, she had a positive impact on my life, then that's everything to me.
I think that's just like really amazing, because like when I often ask people this message, they often say they want to have something to pass down, either monetary or like property and stuff like that. But it's about then having that long lasting impact, because one thing that people often remember is either what you taught them or how you made them feel. So that is gonna really stick with them.
That's so beautiful. Yes.
What advice would you then give to your younger self?
If I was to connect with the younger version of Regan, I would just tell her like, hey, like, stop sweating the small stuff. It's all going to be okay. You're going to figure it out. You're going to do it anyway. Life's life. There's going to be challenges, but it's okay. I think some of the things that I thought was so big and stressful when I was younger really didn't matter that much, and I think I put a lot of energy into things which just didn't matter that much, so I think if I could give the younger version of myself that perspective, that in the scheme of things, we're in this human experience, we're meant to have challenges, we're meant to learn, we're meant to go through them, we're meant to feel heartache, all those things, it's good. Actually, I would let her know that.
I think it's just like really important, because then having that like self-belief and just knowing that it is going to be okay, it then simply pushes you to achieve more, because you know that at the end everything has turned out how you want it to be.
Exactly. Yes.
Let's say that someone's going through like hardships in their life and they can't seem to find a way out. What would you advise them to do?
I would advise them firstly to stop. If someone's in a challenging moment and they're trying to take action, they tend to run around in circles because they're not in a clear and grounded place, right? So the first thing is like, just stop, pause, breathe, whatever you need to do. Stop doing things, stop talking to people, like stop and be with yourself. The next thing is I would go within and I would get this person to ask themselves, okay, this is happening for me right now. No matter how scary or how challenging or how frustrating, whatever's going on, this is actually happening for me. And so from that perspective, I would get them to ask them like, okay, what are the gifts? What are the lessons? What am I learning from this right now? You know, the unconscious mind can hold on to what there is to learn with the scenario, or it can hold on to all the pain and struggle and emotions, but it can't do both. So the minute you accept what there is to learn, generally the pain and the struggle and everything you're going through tends to dissipate and drop away, or it's not as big and scary anymore. You can handle it, you can move through it. So I would get them to really start acknowledging what they're learning and get connected to the positive learnings that will actually allow them to release and diffuse what it is that they're actually going through.
That is absolutely amazing. I really do urge that you listeners are taking notes so you don't miss out on any golden nuggets that Regan has shared with us today.
Awesome.
Let's say that someone they're trying to take their business to the next level, but they hit they're starting to plateau and they're trying to get past that barrier. What exercises or just like anything really would you say that they should do?
Totally. And this is a very human thing, right? We often hit these caps and these plateaus, right? And so often when this happens, even if we are consciously saying, you know, I want to manifest more, I want to take my business to this next level, but it's not working. Often what's going on under the surface is that your unconscious mind and your unconscious system can't see what's on the other side of your goal. So for example, let's say you're hitting $10,000 a month in your business, and no matter what you do, you just can't break through that ceiling. You're like, why can't I hit 12 or 15 or 20, right? Often it's because if you don't spend the time showing your system what is on the other side of this goal, your system marks it as scary, it marks it as the unknown, it marks it as a big black hole, it literally marks it as potential death, right? And your unconscious system is wired to keep you safe, surviving and breathing. So it goes, well, I don't want you to go past this cap and this goal because I don't know what's on the other side of it, which means you might die. Now, I know that sounds so crazy when you think about a money goal. You think, I would love, $12,000 instead of 10, but you need to spend time showing your system what is on the other side of this. So really getting into visioning, okay, if the cap is at 10, then here's what 12 looks like. Here's what 15 looks like. Here's what I would do with that money. Here's what it feels like. Here's the impact that I'd create by doing that. And you live it and you breathe it and you feel it until eventually your system goes, oh, okay, now I understand where I'm going. And not only is it safe, it's freaking awesome. Okay, let me just dissolve through that cap, that plateau, and keep going. But most people don't get this. So they hit what I call this upper limit, which makes them plateau basically.
So it's about just like imagining as though you're already there, because then you get used to the surroundings.
Exactly. And you can visualize it, you can imagine it, you can journal on it, you can meditate on it, you can talk it out with a friend, use whatever tool you want, but you must be emotionally connected to it.
And what do you like? Do you think that morning routines are useful? And if so, why?
I definitely do. Yes. And this is, I guess, a double-edged question, because absolutely, I think you should set your day up for success. And I think that if you don't, the rest of your day can turn super crazy, super fast, right? So it's really important to start your day right. Now, many people, again, in the personal development world, they're like, here's the 5 things you must do in the morning to be successful. There's a lot of those like charts and checklists out there. And I disagree with most of them. And trust me, I've tried most of them as well. Now, I'm a total rebel. If you tell me to do 5 things, I'm probably going to do it for a week and then not do it, or I'm going to do the opposite. Like, it's just how I'm wired, right? And so for me, instead of following all these systems, I had to find another way to really tap in and create my own rituals. And I realized that as an entrepreneur who's so highly driven by variety, if I do the same thing each and every single day, I get really bored and I just don't do it. So what I do instead every morning is I ask myself, what do I need this morning? What do I actually need right now? How am I? Let me check in with myself. What does my soul need? Now, sometimes my soul needs to journal. Sometimes I need to be in total silence. Sometimes I need to put on like really loud music and run around. Like, you do whatever you need to do, but as long as it's getting you in a powerful state, that is all that matters at the end of the day. Because someone can be sitting, journaling for 20 minutes, meditating for 20 minutes, doing all these things and feeling nothing and feeling disconnected from it. That's not going to help set up your day in a way versus someone who goes, you know what, I just need to stretch and move my body for 10 minutes, say 5 affirmations, and I'm good, right? So it's going to look different for everyone. And chances are, if you really tap in on a soul level, it's going to look different every day for you as well.
Totally. It's about totally. It's about like just finding something that works for you, and sometimes even switching it up, because then eventually you get used to it and you get bored of repeating the same thing. So by switching it up, it not only does it shock the system, but it just helps you to attract different things into your life.
Exactly. So important.
Definitely. And lastly, where can people find you if they'd like to find out about any upcoming things you may have?
Totally. Yeah. You can go to reganhillyer.com, or I'm at Regan Hillyer on all social media. So please reach out to me and say hi, but let me know you came from this show as well.
Thank you so much for coming on the Influence Show today.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And also thank you to you listeners for tuning in today. And if you guys like to have the chance to be featured on the show, be sure to email the email that should be popping up on the screen. And I hope you guys have a great day. That's it from me. Bye.
Ciao.